His social background would mean that from an early age he would train to be what we call a man-at-arms.
A man-at-arms would train and fight just like a medieval knight. So while Braveheart suggests Wallace was a farm boy with a God-given talent for war, the real Wallace would have had extensive military training from boyhood.
You silly little puppy. What are you doing?
You ride into that war. That's how war is To put one man in the field on a horse like this is very, very expensive. You have to have armor. You have to have a retinue of men to shoot the horses, feed the horses, put your armor on for them. So William Wallace wasn't a poor orphan as depicted in the film. His family had money and land, and he trained as a warrior. But he did suffer one huge disadvantage. Records show he was a younger son. In medieval Scotland, that meant his father's estate would go to his oldest brother. So William would have to fend for himself.
There are very few career options. Maybe you could go into the church, maybe you could discharge military service for individuals or for the crown. Those would be the two more attractive options.
Exactly what the young William did when he left home remains a mystery. But we do know that Scotland's future hero ended up on the wrong side of the law. In 1296, he appears in a document known as a plea roll, a record of accusations
If it's
against
important,
English
they'll call
soldiers in
that.
Scotland.
If you will.
We have Matthew of York, who is being accused by Christiana of Perth of stealing a certain amount of beer in her house. And Matthew is in the company of the thief, William Wallace. So this is pretty categorical evidence that Wallace was outside the law before he raised his head in rebellion in 1297. He's already had an interesting career path.
Born into privilege, Wallace had become a common criminal in league with his country's sworn foe, the English army. Yet 1 year later, in 1297, he would be the nation's savior. So how did a small-time criminal come so far, so fast? In the spring of 1297, revolt was in the air. But according to Braveheart and Blind Harry, when Wallace raised his head in rebellion, it was not for politics, but for love.
What really captured me about William Wallace was the idea that he started fighting when he lost the woman he loved. And that inspired me. It got right to my heart, and it was so personal.
Just like Mel Gibson, the real Wallace did attack an English garrison with a group of rebels.